And hi, everybody. Welcome to Proline, direct from Las Vegas, the longest running sports handicapping show in America. That's Proline. I'm Dave Cokin, joined by Jim Feist. We're going to take a look at one of the playoff games, Ohio State Clemson, plus Week 17 of the NFL. Before we do that, Jim, if people subscribe to the channel, well, it's free and they get great stuff for free as well.
That's right, Dave. Just go to ProLineTV.com, click on the subscribe button, and you'll get notifications on new videos. Plus, you'll be sent a code to get 7 days of my service absolutely free. And check out our brand new website at JimFeist.com, where you can get daily picks and service packages from myself, Dave, and the nation's top handicappers. Whether you're at home, work, or on the go, check out our website. It'll give you everything you need to access the latest scores and odds, links to articles, my coveted Fast Facts, and the opportunity to watch Proline whenever you want. Check it out and let us know what you think. JimFeist.com.
Got the new photos in there, too.
Makes me look 20 years younger, and that's tough to do.
Doesn't make me look 20 years younger. Kicking and screaming into the photographer's studio. Don't like the new pictures. Well, no, actually I do like them because the other ones were kind of ridiculous at this point. Before we take a look at this week's Proline poll question of the week, we should mention that our audience was right again with the poll we ran a few weeks ago asking if the Cleveland Browns would run the table the wrong way and go 0-16, and they said no, they wouldn't. And with last week's win over the Chargers, 20-17, thank you to the San Diego kicker, the Browns proved our audience right. Now on to this week's poll question, and I knew I was going to pick the second place finisher in this one, but it was my favorite. It's bowl season, and the underdogs have been the story so far, going 16-5 against the spread. Some big games coming up this week, including Jim's college football bowl game of the year and my NFL game of the year. And we've got all the information you need at JimFeist.com. So here's what we did in the spirit of bowl season. We asked our audience, which is the best college bowl game of all time? And, you know, you can throw out some of the real old ones, but we did put in a couple of the old ones. 1984 Orange Bowl, Miami versus Nebraska. 2006 Rose Bowl, Texas versus USC. The 2007 Fiesta Bowl, Boise State versus Oklahoma. Or you had the option of writing in a candidate, and I knew it was going to be a runaway.
And you're right, it was. But you and I are on the other side of it.
Yep.
There's a runaway. 56% of our audience says the best bowl game of all time is the memorable Rose Bowl decade ago between Vince Young and the Texas Longhorns and Matt Leinart and the USC Trojans.
And it was an amazing game.
It was an amazing game, and I love the end, the way Vince Young scored at the end. But you and I both like the Boise trick play. That bowl game was very exciting to watch.
They pulled out every play out of
That's right.
I mean, whatever. Harsin was the coordinator at the time. He's the head coach at Boise now, of course, and Chris Peterson was on the sidelines. And they, whatever was in the playbook, they pulled it out. And they were a big underdog against Oklahoma.
And they should have been.
Oh, yeah, Oklahoma. I mean,
way better team.
They shocked Oklahoma in that game.
That's right.
The reason it was my favorite was because it was the underdog with the upset, and also because I bet Boise State in the game. So there's clearly some bias. It wasn't a money line bet because I didn't think they'd win the game, but I did take the points in that game, knowing that Boise was going to be completely excited and that Oklahoma might overlook them. And it turned out Oklahoma really overlooked them because they got in a big mess in that game. Came back, and it looked like they were going to win the game.
That's right.
They'd taken things over.
That's right.
And then Boise pulled out just a couple of amazing plays and won it. And after that, you remember what happened right after the game?
No.
Boise State running back proposes to his now wife while they were doing the post-game interview.
I forgot about
Remember that?
Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah.
You know, we should ask one of these days, what was the greatest upset of sports that you can remember that you...
I think we had it this past year.
Did we do that?
Well, I mean, from an odds standpoint, I think it must have been. But I know nothing about soccer. I don't follow it at all. But this English Premier League team, was it Leicester City?
Oh, that was huge.
This is an unbelievable upset.
I know. If you go back to a one-game thing, I'd have to go back to the hockey, United States beating Russia.
No, but
that was pretty exciting. But you're right, Leicester
That was
City.
only, maybe 10-1 or something like that? I don't remember. In a one-event setting, I'm still just never considered Buster Douglas to have a chance against Mike Tyson.
Because that's boxing.
Well,
and
it's still a sport.
Some of that stuff is a little bit
Well, that was legit,
rehearsed.
though.
That was, but there are rehearsals going on there.
Buster Douglas, I have to tell you, this is a real quick story.
You do know boxing, though.
Well, I don't follow it much anymore because I got disgusted with the sport. If you can't have your Super Bowl ready to go and play it 5 years after the fact, which is what happened with Pacquiao and Mayweather, and that's where I said,
crazy.
you know what, I'm done with this sport, and it was a good decision. But this was the next, Buster Douglas had beaten Mike Tyson, gigantic upset, and so now he's got Holyfield, and the fight's at the Mirage, and Buster Douglas he's not training at all for this, and you know we've got a pretty good pipeline of information around town. The guy's eating pastry every day. He was training at Shadow Creek, which at that time was the completely exclusive Steve Wynn course. So that's where he's getting his running in. And you remember Donnie Bader?
Oh, yeah.
Donnie's not doing so well these days. He's got some health issues. But Donnie worked at Shadow Creek. And he tells me what happened. And immediately made a big bet on the fight. He says, you're not going to believe this. You know how Donnie talks. I can't really imitate him. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. He goes, Buster Douglas is out here today, and he says, I can't run because I forgot my socks, right? So he said, well, that's no problem, Buster. Come over to the pro shop. We got plenty of socks. And he goes, nah.
I'd rather go eat a pastry.
Yeah, give me the Boston cream pie instead, and that was a rather easy winner, as it turned out.
I don't know about the fight, but that's a great story.
It was. Donnie Bader.
That's called inside information.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to a game.
All right.
Let's go to the Fiesta Bowl, and this is the first of the one of the two playoff games this weekend. I actually don't know what the order is, but this is expected to be the more competitive of the games. Ohio State matching up with Clemson. I'm going to bring a stat in here, and this is a good angle, and it works year after year after year. Last year it was 14-4 straight up, and 13-5 against the spread. This year, so far, it's 5-1 straight up, 4-2 against the spread. You get the team, and it doesn't matter whether they're the favorite or the dog. Find the team that has both the better rushing offense and the better rushing defense, and that's the side that you want to pay attention to first. And I think the reason this works is so much time off between games, the teams that can win in the trenches, where the rust is less likely to show itself, are going to have a better chance to win the game. Ohio State has a better rushing offense and a better rushing defense than Clemson, and that is pretty much good enough for me.
Well, the stats you brought out, you're giving away trade secrets there, Dave.
Well, you still got to do the research.
I understand.
Somebody does the research.
You have to know where to do. Now, let me ask you a question. When you're measuring better rushing offense, or is that number of yards or yards per play?
I go with just the yards, the most basic. Now I can break it down from there and see what the strength of schedule was.
If a team runs the ball 40 times, they should get more yardage than the team that runs 20 times.
Which is fine by me,
but
because
the team that runs 20 times might get more yards per play.
They might, but I actually am going to probably prefer the team that runs 40 times. I'm an old school football guy. I still think
you want the ball control.
Let me tell you something. These spread offenses are fun to watch. They're very exciting, and I think they stink because two things are wrong with them. One, I don't think you win the real games with those offenses. To me, give me the team that still lines up and is going to beat you up. And secondly, ask anybody in the NFL if the spread offense prepares quarterbacks to play in the National Football League. It sure doesn't.
Not.
I think the NFL is going to hate the spread offense.
To take this conversation a step further, is there aren't that many great quarterbacks out there to play in the pros. And you can see it. I mean, there's a lot of very average and even below average guys playing quarterback in the NFL today. There's a couple guys, of course, at the superstar, but they're getting older too.
Yes, they are.
So we have an issue going forward. The problem here is Russell Wilson comes out of college and they're paying him like the rookie contract for 3 years, which is about $600,000 a year. And they have a great offensive line and a great running back and a great defense. Now he gets to the point where the rookie contract is over and they have to go back into renegotiation, and he gets what, 17, 20 million a year. Well, that money now has to come from somewhere else on the team because they have these salary caps. You can only spend so much money. So now you got to get rid of this guy and you got to get rid of that guy and you got to put a lineman in instead of the Pro Bowl guy, you got to put a guy in, a rookie, and all of a sudden you don't have a great offensive line, you don't have the running back that you used to have, your defense is taking a hit. But now you're gone from 600,000 to 17 to 25 million for a quarterback. So this is stupid. I can't say it in any other way.
That's a good description.
It's absolutely stupid. You're putting all of your eggs into one basket, and one hit, guess what happens? Derek Carr goes down. Now what do you got? Russell Wilson goes down. What do you got? Rodgers goes down. You can't do that. Build an offensive line with a good running game and a manageable quarterback, a guy that can manage the game. Trent Dilfer, people like that. Bob Greasy, going back years ago. Run the ball, control the clock, and you don't have all your eggs in one basket, and you can have two quarterbacks on the team that are extremely effective to carry you through. What they've done in the NFL is absolutely stupid, and they're depending on the colleges to develop quarterbacks for them. But guess what? Colleges aren't there to develop quarterbacks for the NFL. They're there to teach the kids and to have fun. So they run these spread offenses, but they don't work in the pros. Those guys can't play.
Half these guys can't take a snap on the center. They don't know
have
how.
no idea what to do. That would
it's kind of a catch-22.
It is.
But this is why they won't make money on it, but the NFL's got to come up with a minor league.
Well,
they've got to.
Well, they used to have a developmental
league. And they're supposed to be starting one up again.
They are, and it's going to be for...
But if they insist on trying to run it for profit, then it won't last.
There's some things in the NFL. I'm sorry, I took us off subject here,
right.
but the NFL makes a lot of money. Ooh. They don't have full-time officials, and some of the officiating is really, really bad. I mean, not only in the calls they make, but in the calls they miss. It's just as bad either way. So we need full-time officials. This is a big business, guys. You have control of the U.S. market for sports right now, and you're going to lose it because you're putting some garbage out there. I mean, some of these teams in the NFL are horrible. Horrible.
Cleveland should have lost the game last week. If
the
San Diego kicker makes the kicks, they win. San Francisco won the opening week. They should not have won last week's game. They did. They beat me in the process. I lost that game, but they're off. They're absolutely horrendous football teams. And meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills have now gone 17 years without making the playoffs. They did fire the Ryan brothers. I believe their first reaction to this was, let's go get some GD snacks. Remember that one?
Oh, question. And you brought it up before.
I did?
Yeah. We got rid of the Ryan brothers. They're gone. E.J. Manuel's going to start at quarterback.
Well,
but you had a reason that I didn't know about, and I don't think the folks out there know.
They have to. If Tyrod Taylor were to go out there and get hurt this weekend, they'd owe him like $37 million.
And how does that happen?
That's the way the contract's structured.
So if he gets hurt, they got to pay him for next year.
This way, they'll just sit him on the sidelines. I think they're not going to bring him back next year. That's my guess. And Taylor will go someplace else.
So it's a financial decision.
Oh, yeah. Strictly business.
And plus they have an interim head coach.
Right.
Although
he's trying to get the job.
Well, they all try. Of course, in a press conference, didn't he name the wrong quarterback? I heard that this morning. He named a guy that wasn't even the quarterback as the quarterback. I'm not even sure the guy's on the team.
Well,
so he says, I was just trying to fool everybody.
It's cold in Buffalo at this time of year. He might have had a literal brain freeze.
Lockjaw.
Okay. Anyway, Ohio State and Clemson, it's not going to be one of my stronger plays, but I would lean to Ohio State in that football game.
I can't disagree, Dave. I don't have a strong opinion, but I'm very likely to use the other side. And the reason I say that is, Clemson was there last year, and they played a heck of a game, and they went all the way to the wire against the best team in the country, which is probably the best team in the country again. Great quarterback in Watson. They're capable of winning this game. Here's what I don't get about this game. I don't understand why Ohio State's favored. I don't see them as a favorite. I see the game as dead even, can go either way. If you're talking about value, I see the value on the dog. It's not a big number, but if you can play the dog +3 and plus money, I mean, when I don't really have a strong opinion, that's what I'm going to do.
All right. I have to speed this up. We're behind schedule, and the hologram's going nuts over there. If you want to ask us any Vegas sports version questions, go to ProLineTV.com. Drop us a line. It doesn't cost anything. And speaking of not costing anything, be sure to hit the subscribe button to get 7 days of action free.
I don't know how you talk that fast.
I'm from Rhode Island, okay?
Okay. And go to JimFeist.com for free stats, articles, videos, my free fast facts, and plays from the nation's top handicappers.
All right. And we'll come back, and we will do something else next. I'm not exactly
Week
sure
17.
what. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
It's on the teleprompter.
Where it should be.
When we come back, we'll look at the NFL Week 17, including the NFC North title being decided as the Packers head to Detroit. Stay tuned. NFL wagering close calls and the Green Bay-Detroit game. We want to talk about the big game this week, which is the Packers and the Lions. But before we do that, let's go back and revisit what the hell happened to the Lions in the second half against the Cowboys. And by the way, against a lot of Cowboy defensive backups, because they did substitute on the defensive side. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, Detroit tried to fix it, and they just completely screwed themselves in the process.
I lost that game. I took
I went for a middle. I had plus 7.5 and minus 6. So I obviously went 1-1, but the Lions could have won this game.
Yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from Dallas. I mean, Dallas has had a great year. They got some great players. I'm really excited about the rookies that have taken over this team, Elliott and Prescott. But Zach Zenner is running the ball through this line constantly in the first half.
Playing well.
Great balance to the offense. Who the hell's calling the plays for the Lions? In the second half, he runs the ball twice.
And look, I like Matt Stafford. I think he's a good quarterback, but the fact is...
But he's playing hurt.
And this is a Bernie Fratto stat. Bernie Fratto's a good friend, hosts Rebel Extra on ESPN Radio out here, and he's a Detroit guy. This is an unbelievable stat. You know how many wins Matt Stafford has against winning teams in his career?
I don't think any.
5. In his entire career, he's got 5 wins against plus 500 teams. That's an unbelievable stat. And it doesn't bode real well for them this weekend when they host the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers are going to be a big public side here. And now this is where it gets tough.
Yeah.
Because if the game's pick 'em, yeah, I'm going to play Green Bay. But
right now Green Bay's 3.
You got to pay through the nose here. Now you got to win big. Basically, because I don't think this line's going to hold it. Well, it might hold it 3. Could go to 3.5.
I see 3.5s, and even the 3 is minus 20, so it's heading in that direction.
I don't like laying that, and the Packers aren't the same on the road as they are at home, and it showed 2 weeks ago. And people have short memories. I know the Vikings looked great last week. I'm glad they did. I had them against the Vikings, who to me I didn't understand the sharp money on the Vikings. Made no sense to me whatsoever. That team was dead. But 2 weeks ago, they went out and they just barely got past the Chicago Bears. It took a great last-minute play by Aaron Rodgers.
They had a big lead. They had a big lead in that game, but they didn't hold on to it.
The Bears didn't go away, and it goes to overtime. Anything can happen. So it's not the same on the road. And I'd love to know what the Lions' mindset is because Jim, everybody expects them to lose this game, so they don't have any real pressure on them here. They're already supposed to lose. Sometimes teams come out and play well in situations like that.
Okay, if you're going to bet on a, let's.
I didn't say I was going to bet.
Three is a number that doesn't scare me. You're either going to win the game or you're going to lose the game. I don't really want to lay 3. I don't particularly. I'm not going to make the bet on Detroit because they're
I can't
plus
play
3.
Detroit.
So either way, but if you're going to go against Aaron Rodgers' pedigree and what he's doing right now, and Matt Stafford,
What thing?
who you with the finger,
Yeah.
hurt, okay, finger. Anyway, whatever that is, I'll explain it another time. The Lions have never been a great team.
No.
Okay, so
No.
Stafford, no
I wanna
matter
go back to when Bobby Lane was there, they were really good.
that was before us. But
I got good Bobby Lane stories.
So when
though.
you come up with a stat like this about Stafford, you have to say also they haven't been that good forever.
No.
So, you're talking about Green Bay, who's a winning team, Super Bowl champs, Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl guy. Stafford's good. He's not Aaron Rodgers. And Stafford is hurt. He does have a bad hand. Some of his throws are a little bit flaky. Yeah, they do run a bit of a controlled offense. I don't know what happened last week with Zenner. The kid is running well, really well, and they don't use him in the second half. And they get obliterated.
I'll say.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And I don't know who played. I don't know what's going on there. To me, Green Bay's going to win this game. I don't know if I'm going to lay the 3 or not. I don't know that's going to stop me. The problem is I think the 3 is going to end up being 4. And then that's going to stop me, probably.
Head to head.
Yeah.
Listen to these stats. The Chalk, 8-1 against the spread. Favorite keeps winning this series. Home team 6-2 against the spread. Packers are 8-3 against the spread. 7-3 at Detroit. They have a good history here. The under between these teams, 5 of the last 7 in Detroit have gone under the total. I'm not a trend guy, so I don't care about any of that.
Do you remember
stuff.
last year's game?
I don't. Are you kidding? I don't remember what I ate for lunch yesterday. Come on. I need notes for everything.
We're going to have.
Actually, I do remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
We're going to take Dave to the doctor as soon as the show's over.
No, I had some prosciutto from Roma Deli yesterday.
Very good. Good choice.
Damn good.
Last year, Detroit was on like a 6-0 run at the end of the second half of the season, and they were leading Green Bay at the end of the game when Rodgers went back and threw the ball 60 yards into the end zone at the last play of the game, caught, touchdown, Green Bay won the game. That was the only loss for Detroit the second half of last year.
Green Bay knows how to win these games. Detroit doesn't. Again, you're going to
Now, let's talk a little bit about Green Bay's running game. Where did that come from?
Well, this kid's good.
He was there all year.
Well,
What, they just learned how to use him?
well, maybe he just, look, I don't know what was going on in practice. And if you don't practice well, you don't play. That's the way it works in the NFL. And I have no argument with that philosophy. Maybe he started practicing better and figuring out. Sometimes the game needs to slow down for guys, younger players. It's just moving so fast they can't figure out what the hell's going on out there, which is a big problem with the young quarterbacks. They definitely don't have the speed of the game it's like warp speed. But once you start to figure things out, the game slows down and you can become a more productive player. So I suspect that's one of the things that happened with the running back, Montgomery.
Yep. Since we have run long and we've gone off on different tangents, I think we should give you a free play here. Right. Dave likes the under in this game. I do as well. I'm going under 49 and a half, I should say, in this game.
Okay. Now, the next thing I have to do is say that if, Jim, viewers can get...
You get free plays by going right to your cell phone and text GAME, G-A-M-E, to 25827 for free plays right to your cell phone right now. That's GAME, G-A-M-E, to 25827.
All right, we're going to continue with some NFL notes, plus a look at a good NFC South rivalry between the Panthers and the Bucs. That's coming up next. Stay tuned. All right, we are back. We're going to take a look at some NFL notes, and also we'll focus a little bit on the Carolina-Tampa Bay game, which is just it's technically not a meaningless game. Tampa Bay still has an outside chance to make the playoffs. Carolina obviously does not. Some other stuff around the NFL to focus on. What do you think the Cowboys will do this weekend in terms of their personnel usage against Philadelphia?
Tough spot. I mean, you're dealing with. This isn't like a preseason game. You don't have 75 guys on the roster, so you can't really sit everybody. But you can do what maybe Pittsburgh is doing this week. The 3 Bs are sitting.
Right.
There's no Ben, there's no Brown, and there's no Bell. So they're all sitting. So you know that when you look at that game, you got the Cleveland Browns coming off a win that might actually be able to beat their hated rival, which is a big game for them. They're only like 200 miles apart, 2 hours apart, I should say.
And it would give them a chance to still blow the number 1 overall draft choice.
But they don't care. The players, don't care.
No.
And the number 2
the players want to win.
And the number 2 player in the draft might be just as good as the 1. I mean, look at
look at this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, Jared Goff. Oh.
As far as Dallas, I think Dallas has to play their starters in the first half. The second half becomes an issue for me. So the game opened 3.5 Dallas, and then went down to the other side, Philadelphia 4. Philadelphia is going to win this game. In my opinion, they're going to play really hard. You got a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback, and you got a team with a little bit of momentum off of beating the Giants. This is a rival. Dallas is one of the teams that could be in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They would love to beat this team at this point, and I think they will. The problem is, I think you're going against the Dallas starters in the first half. So at the half, you have to measure what's happened. I'd be looking to bet maybe Dallas in the first half, because you might be getting a couple points because they are a dog in the game, unless the bookmakers get really sharp and make a different line on that. Dallas in the first half, Philadelphia in the second half, and probably an under. That's the way I'd look at that game.
One other team, New England's not messing around. They want to, I think they made a mistake last year,
They did.
and I don't think they're going to repeat it. I think they're going to go out there and play hard this weekend and make sure that they have momentum going into the playoffs and make sure they have the number 1 seed and just stay on schedule.
What's Miami going to do? Were they going to play Matt Moore the whole game?
That's a real gamble because
They got nothing to play
no,
for.
they're
Although, I mean, if they had a chance to win, they would probably like to play Houston next week instead of
but at this
Pittsburgh.
point you can't take any chances. Matt Moore's doing a nice job.
He's a good quarterback.
He's an
He
excellent
might be
backup
better than
quarterback.
Tannehill.
Well, in any case, he's a good backup.
Yeah, he
But
is.
you can't afford to take a chance that twists an ankle or something, because then you're dead. All right. Well, all right. Let's look at this Carolina-Tampa Bay game. Look, the Bucs are 8-7, so technically they can still get to 9-7, and there is an outside chance, way outside, they could make the playoffs. Carolina is not going to make the playoffs, and in fact, I think it's the first time since 03 or 04 where the 2 defending Super Bowl teams both missed the playoffs the next year. It's been a bad year for Carolina. Everything that went right for them last year kind of went wrong for them this year. I'm sure they'd like to end it on a high note, but I would have thought, had they played well last weekend, coming off a good game, had they played well last weekend against Atlanta, I would have said, this team's going to try and get 3 in a row and go into the offseason on a high note. I don't know. They didn't get the job done against the Falcons, and I just don't think they're going to care a lot about this game. If it really meant something to Tampa, if this was a win in your in game for Tampa, I think Carolina would take it more seriously because it's a division rival. But Tampa needs a lot of help to get in the playoffs now, so I don't see that intensity being there for the potential spoiler role on the Panthers. I think Tampa Bay is going to win the game.
I think Tampa Bay is going to win the game too. And when you look at the line opened Tampa 3, and it's up to 5.5 and 6. And the reason for that is Carolina probably will mail it in here. They mailed it in last week. It didn't get off to a good start and couldn't compete. Now, granted, Tampa's not the greatest favorite in the world. They're still a young team. They make a lot of mistakes. But they are a young team. They got a young coach. And I think they want to end the season. It's more important for them to end the season on a high note than it is for Carolina. Carolina is an ex-Super Bowl team.
For Tampa to go into the offseason as a winning team,
yes,
that's big for them heading into next season.
I believe that, and I think Tampa is the right side. There gets to a point here, of course, that the point spread gets too expensive, so I'm not suggesting you bet it. But if you had like 3 teams that you liked, make a money line parlay and go for it that way. Or even a teaser and knock it down to pick 'em.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to get free plays each day on a recorded message from our team of Vegas experts, the number to do so is 888-478-92. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. Hi. 888-478-9222. I'm new at this.
Yeah, really new. About 50 years experience. And follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jim Feist Sports. And feel free to send me a direct message with any questions about the Vegas wagering scene.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We will see you now. Which camera am I at? There. See? I beat you too. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week with another edition of Proline. It'll be playoff time.